something along the lines of like being present or or just kind of the necessities to sustain life. Now, metaphysics to me is like you have a tribe, you have a bunch of people, you have a lot of time passes, you have accumulation of like ideas and thoughts, and eventually it leads to this idea of a hierarchy, and eventually the implementation of that hierarchy into like government or something like that. That would be kind of metaphysics for me, and I think that represents more biologically complex um, ideas, you know. So I think that reality is biological. I think that it's something that we all share, um, something that we all have in common. I think that like I think that we're always kind of having a conversation with ourselves. We're always kind of talking about the life cycle, our life cycle, um, and how to survive it. I think that's kind of like what's happening in the background. And these ideas like, government and churches and, these ideas, I think that these things all kind of are biological expressions, the accumulation of populaces having biological expressions over a long period of time and churning into these manifestations that are they make sense to us in reality because they make sense to us inside, our body somehow. Somehow we find the organization in here and we kind of express it out in reality. And so, that means that like no one person can like discover or invent anything. That means that like things take a long time to give rise to ideas. And it also it kind of, I think, is also like, so if there's a if like the body is super in tune with hierarchies and precedents and um like just following this biological map for survival, well, that's like exactly what we're doing out in reality as well. So it's kind of like life is kind of like a reflection of us, in our bodies, in our psyche, in our mind, um, and so I think all that is kind of going on, whether you were aware of it or not. But I think that if you meditate, you can kind of slow down a little bit and focus on the self, focus on the individual, and even try to kind of like make changes in your own life, um, and kind of just change a little bit, or not change, or do whatever you want. But I think that you will be more aware of the self, uh, in that type of sense. Yeah. Okay.